You ever notice something, kid? The ones who walk alone, they move differently. They talk differently. They see the world for what it really is, not some fairy tale where everyone holds hands and sings songs about unity. No, the strongest ones, the real ones, have walked through fire alone, burned, and came out with scars they don't bother to hide. Funny, isn't it? How they call you different when you don't fit into their little groups. How they call you cold when you stop looking for comfort. How they say you're dangerous when you refuse to bow down. But here's the thing. They don't understand. They never will. Because people like them, they need the crowd. They need validation. They need someone to tell them what to do, how to think, how to exist. And people like us, we don't. We walk alone because we learned the truth the hard way. The world doesn't care about you. Not really. Not when you're at the bottom. Not when you're broken. They only notice when you rise. And by then, it's too late for them. I used to think people were good. I used to believe in loyalty, in friendship, in the idea that if you gave enough, you'd get something back. But the world doesn't work that way. No one is coming to save you. No one gives a damn about the nights you spent drowning in your own thoughts. No one cares about the weight you carry in your chest. They'll watch you suffer. Some will even enjoy it. And the moment you stop being useful, they'll leave. That's when you realize standing alone isn't a choice. It's survival. You see, when you walk alone, something happens. You stop waiting. You stop expecting. You stop needing. And that's when you become dangerous. Because a man with nothing to lose is feared. But a man who's already lost everything, that's something worse. They don't see it yet, do they? How their rejection, their betrayal, their silence forged something unbreakable. The strongest ones don't start strong. No, they're made, and the world does the making, through suffering, through loss, through betrayal, until one day, you wake up and realize you don't need them anymore. It's funny, they act like you're the villain when you stop playing by their rules, when you stop bending, when you stop caring. But tell me, where were they when you needed someone? Where were they when the world chewed you up and spit you out? Nowhere. But now they see you standing. They see the fire in your eyes, the strength in your silence, the danger in your presence. And it scares them because they know they could never do what you did. They could never survive what you survived. That's why they talk. That's why they whisper. That's why they try to pull you back. Because your existence, your survival, is proof that they are weak. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them fear. Because when the dust settles, when the masks fall, when the last lie has been spoken, the strongest one will still be standing. And he will be standing alone. You ever notice how people love to talk when they think you're beneath them? How they laugh at your struggles? How they look at you like you're nothing? It's funny, really. Because when you start to rise, when you start to carve your own path, suddenly, they go quiet. Oh, but don't be fooled. That's silence. It's not respect. It's fear. Because the moment you stop depending on them, the moment you stop needing their approval, you become something they can't control. And people hate what they can't control. I learned that the hard way. I learned it when the people I trusted the most turned their backs. When the ones who swore they'd always be there weren't. When I realized that the words, "I care about you," don't mean a damn thing unless they're backed by action. See, people will say all the right things until it's inconvenient. They'll swear they're with you until standing beside you costs them something. They'll promise they'll never leave until staying requires effort. That's when you learn the truth. That's when you see the world for what it really is. The strongest ones? They don't walk alone because they want to. No, they walk alone because every time they tried to trust, every time they reached out, the world gave them another reason not to. It's not loneliness. It's clarity. You stop searching for people to understand you when you realize most don't even understand themselves. You stop waiting for someone to save you when you realize no one is coming. You stop expecting people to be loyal when you see how easily they switch sides. And then you make a choice. You either break or you become something else. You become the storm. Because that's the secret, isn't it? That's what they don't tell you. The ones who walk alone, They're not weak. They're not broken. They are forged by the pain, by the loss, by the silence. They don't need saving. They don't need anyone. And that terrifies people. See, they wanted you to stay weak. They wanted you to keep crawling back, begging for scraps of love, of validation, of meaning. But you learned how to stand. And now they don't know what to do with you. They don't know how to break something that's already been shattered and rebuilt. They don't know how to control someone who has nothing left to lose. And they sure as hell don't know how to stop you. You ever notice something? The ones who are truly strong, they don't need to prove it. They don't scream for attention. They don't demand respect. They don't ask for power because they already have it. Not in the way the world thinks. Not in money. Not in fame. Not in meaningless titles. No. They have something real. They have the kind of strength that doesn't fade. The kind that doesn't depend on others. The kind that was built in the dark, in the pain, in the moments when no one was watching. The kind of strength that only comes from walking alone. And that's why, when the dust settles, when the masks fall, when the world finally sees the truth, the strongest one will still be standing, and he will be standing alone. You ever wonder why the lone wolves are always the most dangerous? It's simple. Because they had no one to rely on, no safety net, no backup plan. They had to figure it out alone. They had to take the pain, the betrayals, the endless nights of doubt, and turn it into power. And power like that? Oh, that's the kind of power that terrifies people. Because it's not borrowed. It's not given. It's earned. You see, they want you to believe you need them. They want you to believe you're weak without their approval, their validation, their little pat on the back. But what happens when you stop waiting for them? What happens when you realize that their opinions, their judgments, their rules were never meant to serve you? You become something else, something they can't manipulate, something they can't break. And that's the moment they start to fear you. Because the strongest ones, the ones who truly make it, they don't belong to anyone. They don't need a pack. They don't need permission. They walk alone. But don't get it twisted. Walking alone? It's not easy. It's not some heroic, cinematic moment where the world suddenly respects you. No, it's brutal. It's nights of silence so loud it deafens you. It's fighting battles that no one sees, no one cares about. It's being hated simply for not bending, not obeying, not fitting in. It's losing people, not because you want to, but because they can't handle what you've become. And maybe that stings at first. Maybe there's a part of you that still hopes, still wants to believe that someone, somewhere, will understand. But they won't. And that's okay, because once you accept it, once you stop fighting it, you unlock something inside you that most people will never experience. Absolute freedom. The freedom to move without asking permission. The freedom to build without seeking approval. The freedom to exist without needing anyone to validate you. And that is where true strength begins. Because when you walk alone, there's no one left to betray you. No one left to hold you back. No one left to tell you what's right and what's wrong based on their weak little fears. It's just you. And when it's just you finally start to see what you're really capable of. See, most people never get there. They're too scared, too desperate for the crowd's approval, for the illusion of safety that comes from being part of something. But safety? It's just another word for control. And I don't know about you, but I don't answer to anyone. The strongest ones always walk alone, not because they want to, but because they have to. And that's the way it was always meant to be.